have some of these help me through. Hello to Professor Knackley and all of my fellow classmates. My name again is Tara Brown, and I'm here today in order to inform this prestigious and mature academic audience of the very practical and universal topic of free speech. My overall purpose for choosing this particular subject of informative discussion was most influenced by our effective speech assignment concerning Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, and I was also influenced by certain sections of our in-class textbook reading assignments. In addition, I have also found this topic to be quite casual in our overall American college atmosphere and was interested in studying a bit more in depth concerning the subject matter. So, in the great words of Dr. Martin Luther King, let freedom ring. To begin, the grandiose history of civil human rights movements are genuinely monumental all over the world, particularly in the United States of America. Yet none of these issues, such as educational clauses or women's suffrage, has had quite as much popularity as the support, utilization, and continuous reinstallation of the right to freedom of speech. Interestingly, the actual want for free speech descends from long before its initial recognition in 1791 within the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Though freedom of speech is accredited as the first article in the Bill of Rights, which also grants people the right to freedom of religion and freedom of press, annoyances and discontent with the lack of free speech had stirred many freedom fighters for years prior. One example of a well-known activist in the fight for free speech is none other than the infamous father of modern science, or Galileo. In 1633, Galileo was punished under the terms of a life sentence house arrest for claiming that the sun does not revolve around the earth. Another example of prior free speech movements may include the establishment of the Magna Carta in 1215, which was signed giving recognition to the people's protection of speech. And in addition, the 1689 Parliament English Bill of Rights also gave notice to the need for freedom of speech, along with the French, who specified the concern within their Declarations of Rights of Man. In recognition for some of the more current actions that have been taken in representation for the right to free speech, however, one may also want to take heed to the educational or school environment. In 1969, the court case Tinker v. Des Moines aided students in maintaining their right to free speech during school hours. A bit earlier on, in 1948, the UN decided to recognize free speech as a valid human right in Article 19 of the International Declaration of Human Rights. And in addition, Martin Luther King's right to free speech has certainly influenced the lives of millions in his I Have a Dream speech, and a solid representation of the positivity and emotional impact that free speech can sponsor. Free speech also allows for people today to have a common sense of dignity within public judicial systems and court systems all over the world. In continuation, however, while the right to free speech is considered to be very important to nearly 70% of all Americans, and as Socrates had so graciously stated, he'd sooner obey the gods rather than them when being implored by demanding jurists in 399 BC, the right to free speech at times has its negative attributes. More precisely, in our classroom text, the subject matter addresses a somewhat prominent issue regarding free speech and ethics. Furthermore, a terrific motto is utilized within the text in demonstration of this particular subject matter. In a country in which free speech is protected by law, the right to speak freely must be balanced by the responsibility to speak ethically. In short, giving cultural and careful consideration to people of all diversities, ethnicities, and various familial backgrounds is as important a factor as the initial human right to free speech at all. More precisely, public opinion seems to imply that inappropriate defense may lie within the failure of citizen protection from obscene or pornographic sites and varieties of hate speech, as the First Amendment seemingly protects various obscenities. Luckily, however, in 1973, court case Miller v. California began the movement of the Miller test in hopes of better outlining more specific legality levels of particular obscenities when involving the government's judicial system. Furthermore, and in contrast to certain public opinion as well, the right to free speech within the United States Constitution also does not necessarily protect its citizens from various charges of slander and defamation. And lastly, and also luckily, in 1969, court case Brandenburg v. Ohio set a monumental precedent that speech can be restricted if the alleged speaker attempts to provoke an imminent or likely violation of the particular law. Thus, in closing, while the right to free speech is a monumental and important human dignity, a common respect for vocal freedom seems somewhat publicly outlined. Positivity within restraints, however, may certainly be noticed within many workplaces amongst many free employees, and certainly within many student populations, as these somewhat polite ethics can protect us all. What's more, clearly the mandate of a right to free speech is publicly felt given its historical popularity. So, in conclusion, I will freely say that I wish you all a good night, a good morning, and good day. And good luck to you in all of your informative speeches. Thank you.